The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with creatures from across the stars. Some walked on four legs, others floated in the air. The Cathara clicked their sharp teeth together as they talked. Their black shells caught the light from above. The Etherians glowed with soft blue colors that changed as they thought. The tall Centaurians stood quiet and still, watching everything with their large eyes. At the center of the room stood War Prime Kethron of the Zephyrian hegemony. He was 9 feet tall, with thick gray skin and arms like tree trunks. Red marks covered his face and chest. These marks told the story of every battle he had won. There were many marks. Humans must leave the Kepler 442 system, Kethron said. His voice was deep and loud. It made the floor shake. They do not belong there. That space is ours. The other aliens in the room made sounds of agreement. The Cathara clicked faster. The Etherians pulsed brighter. Everyone knew the Zephyrians were the strongest fighters in the galaxy. They had never lost a war, not once in 1,000 years. Ambassador Alina Vasquez sat in the human section. Was small compared to the other beings around her. Her dark hair was pulled back. She wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations, no battle marks, no signs of war. "The humans are new to space," said Council Leader Zeth. His 4 eyes blinked, one at a time. "Perhaps they do not understand our ways." Kethron laughed. The sound was like rocks falling down a mountain. They understand nothing. "Look at her." He pointed one massive finger at Alina. "She sits there like a scared child. Damn. Her people have no real weapons, no real ships. They are soft." Alina stood up slowly.
The room became quiet.
"War Prime Kethron," she said. Her voice was calm and steady. "I must disagree with your assessment." "You disagree?"
Boss.
Kethron's red eyes grew wide. "Little human, do you know who I am? I have destroyed entire fleets. I have conquered worlds. People have ruled space for longer than your species has existed." "I know exactly who you are," Alina replied. She took a small device from her pocket. Numbers and pictures appeared in the air above it. "You have won 47 major battles. You have destroyed over 3,000 enemy ships. You rule 6 star systems and 12 worlds." The room was very quiet now. Even the Cathara stopped clicking. Alina continued. "You believe strength comes from winning battles. It's from breaking your enemies, from making others fear you." She put the device away. "Humans see things differently. Different." Kethron stepped closer. His shadow fell over Alina, but she did not move. "What could soft mammals like you possibly understand about war?" "We understand that there is a difference between winning and solving," Alina said. "When humans fight, we do not fight just to win. We fight to make sure we never have to fight the same enemy again."
Ow.
The Etherian delegation pulsed with confused colors. The Centaurians shifted their weight from foot to foot. No one had ever talked to a Zephyrian war prime like this. "You threaten us?" Kethron's hand moved toward the weapon at his side. "No," Alina said. "I am trying to save you." Kethron threw back his head and roared with laughter. The sound echoed. Off the walls, soon other aliens joined in. The Cathara made chittering sounds. Even some of the Centaurians made soft huffing noises. "Save us." Kethron wiped tears from his eyes. "Little human, we have weapons that can crack planets. Our ships are faster and stronger than anything your people have built. Our warriors are born for battle. What could you possibly do to us?" Alina looked around the room. Every alien there was watching her, waiting for her answer. She took a deep breath. "The Kepler 442 system has 3 human research stations," she said. 47 ships, about 8,000 people. There are scientists, engineers, and their families. They grow food. They study stars. They explore dead rocks looking for minerals. Exactly. Kethron slammed his fist on the table, weak, defenseless. "You attack them," Alina continued. "Humanity will respond. But we will not respond the way you expect. We will not send our ships to fight your ships. We will not try to match your weapons with our weapons." "Then what will you do?" asked Council Leader XY. Alina was quiet for a moment. She spoke. Again, her voice was very soft. But somehow everyone in the great hall could hear every word. "We will study you," she said. "We'll watch how you fight, how you move, how you think. We'll learn everything about you. Every weakness, every mistake, every pattern." The laughter in the room died away. Then Alina said, "We will build something better, something designed just for you, something that turns all your strengths into weaknesses. We will not try to beat you at your own game. We will create a new game, one where you cannot win." Catherine's red eyes narrowed. "You speak of learning, building, but in the meantime, your people die," Samuel Alina admitted. "But each one who dies will teach us something new about you. Each ship you destroy will give us data about your weapons. Each battle you win will show us your tactics." She walked closer to Catherine. The massive alien looked down at her. "War Prime Catherine, your people fight to prove you are strong. Humans fight to solve problems. And right now, you are volunteering to become our problem." The room was completely silent. No clicking, no glowing, no movement at all. "I strongly advise you to reconsider," Alina said. "Because humans do not lose wars, we erase the things that start them." Catherine stared at her for a long moment. Then he began to laugh again. But this time, no one joined him. "You think you can threaten the Zephyrian hegemony with words?" he said. "We will take your system. We will capture your people. We will show the galaxy what happens to those who stand against us." Alina nodded slowly. "I expected you would say that. Humans have a saying, War Prime. Some people cannot be reasoned with. They can only be educated." She turned to address the entire council. 3 days from now, the Zephyrian fleet will enter the Kepler 442 system. I want every species in this room to watch what happens next. Consider it a learning experience." Catherine's laughter echoed through the hall as Alina walked toward the exit. But as she reached the door, she turned back one last time. "War Prime, Catherine," she called out. "You have won 47 battles. After this week, that number will never change again." The doors closed behind her with a soft whisper. In the great hall, the aliens looked at each other with confusion and growing worry. The Zephyrians had never lost a fight, but the human had not talked like someone who expected to lose. She had talked like someone who expected to teach. 3 days passed quickly. War Prime Catherine stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Bone Crusher. Around him, his officers prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory. 200 Zephyrian ships moved through space toward the Kepler 442 system, as their dark metal holes cut through the stars like knives. "How long until we reach the humans?" Catherine asked. 2 hours, War Prime replied his second officer. "Our scouts report 47 human ships in the system. Most are small. Nothing larger than a heavy cruiser." Catherine smiled, showing his sharp teeth. 47 ships against 200. The humans will learn quickly. On the other side of the galaxy, in the Galactic Council building, many aliens watched through long-distance sensors. The Cathera clicked their teeth together with excitement. The Etherians pulsed with curious colors. Even the quiet Centaurians seemed interested in what would happen. "Humans will surrender quickly," said one Cathera. "They are too smart to fight a battle they cannot win." "Perhaps," said an Etherian. But the human ambassador seemed very confident. In the Kepler 442 system, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable. She was 50 years old, with gray hair and calm eyes. Around her, human officers worked at their stations. No one seemed worried. "Admiral," said her communications officer, "the Zephyrian fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. 200 ships, just like our intelligence said." "Any messages from them?" Sarah asked. "Yes, ma'am. War Prime Kethron demands our immediate surrender. He says if we give up now, he will only take half our people as slaves." Sarah nodded. "Send our reply. Tell him we decline his generous offer." She turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Park, are our recorder drones ready?" "Yes, Admiral. 50 drones positioned throughout the system. Every one has full sensor packages and quantum transmitters. Whatever happens here, Earth will know about it in real time." "Good. And our civilian evacuation?" "Complete, ma'am. All research station personnel are now on the far side of the system. Safe distance. Sarah looked at the main screen. The Zephyrian fleet was moving toward them in a perfect formation. Ships were larger than the human vessels. Their weapons glowed with dangerous energy. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Park, "they are charging weapons." "It looks like they plan to attack without warning." "Of course they do," Sarah said. "Remember, people, we are not here to win. We are here to learn. Every second of this battle is teaching humanity something new about our new neighbors." The first shots came without warning. Bright plasma beams reached across space toward the human ships. The Use Dauntless, a small frigate, took a direct hit. Her shields failed immediately. The second shot cut through her hull like paper. 10 seconds? The ship was gone. "Dauntless is destroyed," reported Lieutenant Park. "All hands lost." Sarah's face did not change. Analysis. Their plasma weapons operate on a rotating frequency pattern. Variable power output. Our shields cannot adapt fast enough. Their targeting systems are very accurate at long range. "Send that data to Earth immediately," Sarah ordered. "How long until they reach us?" 20 minutes at current speed." "Good. That gives us time to test their defensive capabilities." Human fleet began to move, but they did not run away. Instead, they spread out and began firing at the Zephyrian ships. Human kinetic weapons sent metal slugs through space at incredible speeds. The Zephyrian shields stopped most of the shots, but not all of them. "Interesting," said Lieutenant Park. "Their shields are designed for energy weapons. Kinetic rounds are getting through, but the damage is minimal." "How minimal?" "We would need to hit each ship about 50 times to cause serious damage." "Then we hit them 50 times, Sarah said. "All ships, focus fire on the lead destroyer." "I want to see how much punishment they can take." The human ships concentrated their fire on one Zephyrian vessel. Metal slugs hammered against its shields and hull. After 2 minutes of continuous fire, the enemy ship began to slow down. "Target is damaged but still fighting," reported Lieutenant Park. "Their hull armor is very thick. Their repair systems are fast. Send that data to Earth 2. War Prime Catherine watched the human attack with confusion. The humans were fighting, but they were also transmitting constantly. Every few seconds, bursts of data shot away from the human ships toward Earth. "What are they sending?" he asked his communications officer. "Unknown, War Prime. The transmissions are encrypted, but there are many of them." "Are they calling for help?" "No, sir. The messages are too short for that. They look more like reports." Catherine growled. "It does not matter. Order all ships to attack. Destroy them quickly." The Zephyrian fleet moved forward. Their plasma weapons lit up space with deadly fire. One by one, human ships began to die. But each time, a human ship was destroyed. The remaining vessels seemed to fight a little differently. The UES Challenger was the next to fall. But as she died, her final transmission included detailed scans of the weapon that killed her. "Admiral, no," said Lieutenant Park. "We are losing ships faster than we can learn." "No, Lieutenant," Sarah replied. "We are not losing ships. We are buying knowledge. Every ship that dies teaches Earth something new about Zephyrian technology." The battle continued for 3 hours. When it ended, only 12 human ships remained. The rest were destroyed or so damaged they could not fight. But Admiral Chen was not sad. She was satisfied. "Lieutenant Park, final report. We have complete data on Zephyrian weapons, shields, armor, tactics, and ship designs. We know their maximum range, their power output, their reload times, and their defensive capabilities and casualties. 35 ships lost, 3,412 people killed." Sarah was quiet for a moment. "Send this message to Earth Command. Phase 1 complete. Enemy capabilities fully cataloged. Recommend immediate implementation of Phase 2 protocols." "Yes, ma'am. What about us?" "We retreat to the asteroid belt. We have work to do." War Prime Kethron stood among the wreckage of the human fleet. His ships had won easily. But something felt wrong. "Casualties?" he asked. 7 ships damaged, no ships lost. 43 wounded, none dead." "The humans fought bravely," said his second officer. But they had no chance. Kethron nodded. But he kept thinking about all those transmissions. What had the humans been sending to Earth? Then the Galactic Council? Chambers! The aliens watched the battle end. The Cathara clicked with satisfaction. The Etherians pulsed with approving colors. The humans learned their lesson, said one, Cathara, and now they will surrender. But Ambassador Elena Vasquez was not. In the council chambers, she was in her private office, reading reports from Admiral Chen. Her face showed no sadness about the lost ships. Instead, she looked like someone who had just finished the first step of a very long plan. She opened a secure channel to Earth. This is Ambassador Vasquez. Zephyrians have taken the bait. Begin production of Mark II vessels immediately. Use the Kepler data for all design specifications. On Earth, in hidden factories, human engineers began to work. They had 3,000 hours of battle data to study. They knew exactly how Zephyrian weapons worked. They knew exactly how to build ships that could survive them. The war was just beginning. But the humans had already won the most important battle of all. They had learned how their enemy fought, and now they could build something better. 2 weeks passed after the battle at Kepler 442. War Prime Kethron sat in his command chair aboard the Bone Crusher, feeling uneasy. His fleet controlled the system now. The few remaining human ships hid in the asteroid belt like scared animals. But something was wrong, War Prime said his communications officer. We are detecting strange signals from human space. Kind of signals. Manufacturing signatures. Energy spikes. It looks like every human world is working at maximum capacity. Kethron frowned. They should be surrendering, not building. On Luna, Earth's moon, Dr. Marcus Webb worked without sleep in the military research labs. Around him, thousands of engineers studied the data from Kepler 442. Holographic displays showed Zephyrian ships from every angle. Every weapon shot was analyzed frame by frame. Their plasma weapons use a triple helix energy pattern, Dr. Webb explained to his team. The frequency shifts every 2.7 seconds. But look here, he pointed to the display. There's a gap. A moment when the frequency is between shifts. How long? Asked his assistant. 0.3 seconds. Not long, but enough. Enough for what? Dr. Webb smiled. Enough for our new kinetic rounds to punch through their shields like they are not. There. In another lab, engineer Sarah Kim studied Zephyrian armor plating. It is strong against energy weapons, she said. But it has a crystal structure. Very organized. Very predictable. What does that mean? Asked her supervisor. It means we can design ammunition that shatters the crystal bonds. Turn their strongest armor into their biggest weakness. Across human space, the same scene played out on dozens of worlds. Scientists worked day and night. Factory workers built new weapons. Shipbuilders constructed vessels unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Meanwhile, in the Kepler 442 system, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the Zephyrian fleet from her hiding place in the asteroids. Her remaining ships were damaged but not broken. More importantly, they were still learning. Admiral, said Lieutenant Park, the Zephyrians are spreading out to search for us. They are splitting their fleet into smaller groups. How many ships per group? Between 5 and 10 ships each? Sarah nodded. Perfect. Send a message to the UES Defiant. Tell Captain Rodriguez it is time for the next lesson. The UES Defiant was one of Sarah's remaining cruisers. Her hull was scarred from the first battle, but her weapons still worked. Captain Rodriguez took his ship out of the asteroid belt and began moving toward the nearest Zephyrian patrol. Sir, said his tactical officer, 7 enemy ships are coming toward us. Should we retreat? No, Rodriguez said. We have new orders. Today we teach them something different. The Zephyrian patrol saw the lone human ship approaching. The patrol leader laughed. 1 ship against 7? These humans learn nothing. But when the fighting started, something was different. The human ship moved in ways they had not seen before. It dodged at the exact moment Zephyrian weapons fired. It seemed to know where every shot would go before it was fired. How are they doing that? Asked a Zephyrian gunner. I do not know, replied his commander. But keep firing. The UES Defiant fought for 20 minutes, was destroyed in the end, but not before she destroyed 2 Zephyrian ships and damaged 3 others. For the first time in Zephyrian history, they lost ships to a smaller human force. War Prime Kethrin received the report with growing anger. How did 1 human ship destroy 2 of ours? They seemed to know our tactics, War Prime. They moved like they could read our minds. Impossible. Send another patrol to hunt the remaining humans. But the next patrol also met disaster. The UES Courage ambushed them near a large asteroid, used the rock for cover, and picked off Zephyrian ships one by one. 3 enemy vessels were destroyed before the Courage was finally killed. Each human ship that died took more Zephyrian ships with it. The exchange rate was getting worse for the Zephyrians in the Galactic Council chambers. Other species began to notice the strange reports coming from Kepler 442. The Zephyrians are losing ships, said a Cathara delegate. How is that possible? Perhaps the humans are stronger than we thought, suggested an ET here. And Council leader Zyth called Ambassador Alina Vasquez to speak. Ambassador, we are receiving troubling reports from the Kepler system. It appears your people are not surrendering as expected. Alina sat calmly in her chair. Surrendering was never part of our plan, Council leader. But your fleet was destroyed. You have only a few ships left. That is correct, Alina agreed. But you seem to be counting wrong. What do you mean? Alina activated her personal display. Numbers appeared in the air. 3 weeks ago, humanity had 47 ships in the Kepler system. Today we have 12 ships in the Kepler system. Exactly, said the Cathara delegate. You are losing. But, Alina continued, 3 weeks ago, humanity had 800 ships total across all our space. Today we have 1,200 ships, and they are not the same ships we had before. The room became very quiet. The Etherians pulsed. With worried colors. What kind of ships? Asked Council leader Zeth. The kind designed specifically to fight Zephyrians, Alina replied. Every weapon system, every armor plate, every tactical program has been built using data from our battles. We know exactly how your Zephyrian friends fight. Now we have built ships that can fight back. You are bluffing, said the Cathara delegate. No species can build so many ships so quickly. Alina smiled. Forget, delegate. Humans do not just fight wars. We solve problems. And the Zephyrians have given us a very interesting problem. To solve, she stood up and walked to the center of the room. For 2 weeks, War Prime Kethrin has been hunting our remaining ships in the Kepler system. He thinks he is winning because he destroys our vessels. But each ship he kills teaches us more about his weaknesses. What weaknesses? Asked an Etherian. His weapons have predictable patterns. His armor has structural flaws. His tactics follow rigid doctrine. His commanders think the same way because they are trained the same way. Alina looked around the room. The Zephyrians are very good at fighting enemies like themselves, but they have never fought an enemy like us, like you. An enemy that adapts, an enemy that learns it, an enemy that gets stronger every time you hit it. She walked back to her seat. In 72 hours, you will see the first demonstration of human adaptive warfare. I suggest you watch carefully. It will be educational. That night, War Prime Kethron received reports that made his blood run cold. Human ships were entering the Kepler system, not the damaged survivors from before. New ships. Strange ships with hull designs unlike anything in Zephyrian databases. How many ships? He asked. 53, War Prime. All heavy cruisers are larger. Only 53 ships against our 200. They are still outnumbered. But his tactical officer looked worried. Sir, our intelligence reports suggest these ships are different. They appear to be designed specifically for fighting us. Thrawn laughed, but it sounded forced. No ship can be designed to fight us if the builders have never fought us before. War Prime, said his officer quietly. They have been fighting us for 2 weeks. Every battle has been a learning experience for them. For the first time in his long career, War Prime Kethron felt something he had never felt before. Fear. The humans were coming. And they had been learning. The human fleet arrived at Kepler 442 like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. 53 ships, but they moved with perfect coordination. Their hulls were dark gray with strange angles that made them hard to target. These were not the same vessels that had died 2 weeks ago. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the UES Prometheus. Her old ship, the Indomitable, had been destroyed, but she felt no sadness. The data from that death had helped build this new vessel. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her communications officer. "Good. Lieutenant Park, what do our sensors show?" 200 Zephyrian ships in the system, ma'am. They are spread out in hunting groups, just like before. Sarah smiled. Perfect. They are still thinking like hunters. Time to show them what it feels like to be prey. War Prime Catherine watched the human ships approach on his main screen. Something was wrong with their appearance. His sensors could barely lock onto them. "Why are our targeting systems having trouble?" he demanded. "Unknown, War Prime," replied his weapons officer. "The human ships seem to absorb our sensor beams instead of reflecting them. That is impossible. Sir, our engineers say the hull design creates interference patterns. Our weapons computers cannot get a clear fix on them." Catherine growled with frustration. "It does not matter. Order all ships to attack. 200 ships against 53. Still have the advantage." But the battle that followed was unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever experienced. The human ships moved through space like they knew exactly where every Zephyrian shot would go. They dodged plasma beams with impossible precision. When the humans fired back, their new kinetic rounds punched through Zephyrian shields like paper. The weapons had been designed using data from hundreds of previous shots. They hit at exactly the right frequency, at exactly the right moment. The UES Prometheus led the attack against War Prime Catherine's flagship. New armor absorbed plasma fire that would have destroyed the old Indomitable. Her weapons targeted the weak points in Zephyrian hull design that human engineers had discovered. "Direct hit on the Bone Crusher," reported Lieutenant Park. "Their forward shields are down." Again, Sarah ordered. "Target their weapon systems." The second volley from the Prometheus struck exactly where human analysis predicted Zephyrian weapons would be most vulnerable. The Bone Crusher's main guns went silent. Across the battlefield, the same scene played out again and again. Human ships that should have been destroyed kept fighting. Zephyrian ships that should have been invincible began to die. "War Prime," shouted Catherine's tactical officer. "We have lost 20 ships. The humans have lost only 3. Catherine stared at his displays in disbelief. This was impossible. His people were the greatest warriors in the galaxy. They had never lost a major battle. "How are they doing this?" he whispered. On the EU's Prometheus, Admiral Sarah received reports from across her fleet. Every ship was performing exactly as predicted. The human weapons hit their targets with deadly accuracy. The human armor stopped Zephyrian fire that once seemed unstoppable. Admiral said, "Lieutenant Park, we are receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian flagship. Put it on screen." Or Prime Catherine's face appeared on the main display. His red eyes burned with rage and confusion. "Human Admiral, your ships are using some kind of trickery, some new technology we have not seen." Sarah looked at him calmly. "No tricks, War Prime, no new technology. We are simply using your own data against you." "What data?" "Every shot you fired at us, every tactic you used, every weakness you showed us. We studied it all. We learned from it all. We built better ships because of it all." Catherine's face grew pale. "You've planned this from the beginning." "Of course we did," Sarah replied. "Did you think we would send our people to die for no reason? Every ship you destroyed taught us something new about how to kill you." The battle continued for 6 more hours. By the end, only 30 Zephyrian ships remained. The human fleet had lost 12 vessels. For the first time in their history, the Zephyrians had suffered a major defeat. But the humans did not stop there. Admiral Sarah opened a channel to all remaining Zephyrian ships. "This is Admiral Chen of the human fleet," she said.
Ow.
"You have a choice. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate something else we learned from studying your people." "What?" demanded Catherine. "We learned where you come from." At that moment, new signals appeared on Zephyrian sensors. Human ships were dropping out of hyperspace all across Zephyrian territory. Not just at Kepler 442, everywhere. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency alarms began to sound. The aliens watched their long-range sensors with growing terror. Human ships in the Zephyrian home system, reported a Cathara delegate. Human ships at their military bases, said an Etherian. Human ships at their colonies, whispered a Centaurian. Ambassador Elena Vasquez walked calmly to the center of the chamber. Delegates, you are witnessing the human concept of total warfare. We do not fight just the enemy in front of us. Fight the entire problem. How many ships do you have? Asked Council Leader Zith. Enough, Elena replied. We have been building for 3 weeks, while the Zephyrians played with our scouts in Kepler 442, every human world. Every human factory, every human shipyard has been working toward this moment. She activated her display. Images appeared, showing human fleets at 17 different Zephyrian worlds. The Zephyrian hegemony now faces a choice, Elena continued. They can surrender and accept our terms for peace. Or they can continue fighting and discover what happens when humans stop holding back. Holding back, squeaked a Cathara. Call this holding back? Yes, Elena said simply. So far we have only been solving the military problem. If they force us to solve the entire problem, the Zephyrian hegemony will cease to exist. On his damaged flagship, War Prime Kethrin received reports from across his empire. Human ships surrounded every major Zephyrian world. They had not attacked yet. They were waiting. How did they do this? He asked his communications officer. How did they know where all our worlds are located? Our intelligence reports that humans have been intercepting our communications for months. They know everything about us. Ship movements, supply lines, military bases, government locations, everything. Yes. Kethrin closed his eyes. They have been watching us. Yes, sir. While we thought we were hunting them, they were studying us. No. Message appeared on Kethrin's screen. It was from Admiral Chen. War Prime Kethrin, she said. You wanted to educate humanity about galactic warfare? Consider your lesson plan complete. Now, we would like to teach you something in return. Kethrin asked how to surrender. Kethrin looked around his damaged command bridge. His proud fleet was broken. His mighty empire was surrounded. His people faced a choice between surrender and destruction.
What are your terms?
Admiral Chen's smile. Admiral Chen's smile was not cruel, but it was final. Complete withdrawal from all disputed territories. Full disarmament of your military. Reparations for human losses. And one more thing. What? You will broadcast a message to every species in the galaxy. We'll tell them exactly what happens when someone decides to test human resolve. War Prime Kethrin, who had never lost a battle in his life, bowed his head in defeat. I accept your terms. In the Galactic Council chambers, the aliens watched in stunned silence as the greatest military power in their region surrendered to the species they had considered weak. Ambassador Elena gathered her things and prepared to leave. Delegates, I hope today has been educational. Humanity looks forward to peaceful relations with all species who choose peace. As she reached the door, she turned back one final time. But should anyone else decide to test us, remember what you witnessed here today. Humans do not fight wars to win. We fight wars to end them. The door closed behind her, leaving the aliens to contemplate a new reality. The humans had not just won a war. They had rewritten the rules of galactic conflict, and everyone had been watching. 6 months had passed since the Zephyrian surrender. The galaxy had changed in ways no one expected. The Galactic Council chambers were quieter now. The clicking of Cathara teeth was softer. The Etherian lights pulsed with more careful colors. Even the tall Centaurians moved with less confidence. Today was the day of the final broadcast. War Prime Kethron, now called simply Kethron, stood before the assembled delegates. His red battle marks had been removed. His massive frame seemed smaller somehow. He wore simple gray clothes instead of his war armor. Honored delegates, he began, his voice lacking its old power. I am here to fulfill the terms of my surrender to humanity. I am here to tell you what I learned. Ambassador Elena Vasquez sat in the human section, watching calmly. She had aged in these 6 months, but her eyes were sharp and alert. The weight of remaking a galactic order showed on her face. For 1,000 years, Kethrin continued, The Zephyrian hegemony ruled through strength. We believed that power came from winning battles, from breaking enemies, from making others fear us. He paused, looking at each delegation in turn. We were wrong. The chamber was completely silent. Even the air recycling system seemed to whisper more quietly. Humans taught us that there is a difference between fighting and solving, Catherine said. When we fought them, we thought we were winning because we destroyed their ships. But each ship we killed was teaching them how to kill us better. Council leader Zift shifted uncomfortably. What do you mean, former War Prime? I mean the humans. Never intended to win the first battle. They intended to learn from it. Every shot we fired gave them data. Every tactic we used showed them our patterns. Every victory we claimed made their final victory more certain. A Cathara delegate clicked nervously. But surely your military power was still superior. You had more ships, better weapons. Kethron laughed, but it was not a happy sound. More ships built for fighting other Zephyrians. We had better weapons designed to beat enemies like ourselves. But the humans built ships designed specifically to beat us. Every piece of their technology was created using our own weaknesses against us. He activated a display that showed the final battle statistics. The numbers made several aliens gasp. Our last engagement, we lost 170 ships. The humans lost 12. Our weapons, which had never failed before, could barely scratch their holes. Their weapons, which seemed primitive, cut through our defenses like they were not there. Is that possible? Asked an Etherean. Because they learned. Because they adapted. Because they understood something we did not.
What?
Catherine looked directly at the human section.
That true strength is not the ability to win fights. True strength is the ability to end them permanently. Alina stood up slowly.
Thank you, Catherine. Your words honor the agreement between our peoples. She walked to the center of the chamber. Delegates, you have heard the military account of our conflict with the Zephyrians. Now let me tell you what happened after their surrender. The aliens leaned forward. Everyone wanted to know what the humans had done with their victory. We could have destroyed them, Alina said simply. We had the power. We had the justification. They attacked our civilians. They killed our people. By galactic law, we could have erased their species from existence. But you did not, observed Council Leader Zith. No, because destroying them would not have solved the real problem. What problem? Alina activated her own display. It showed a map of local space. Red zones marked areas of conflict between various species. There were many red zones. The problem is that the galaxy operates on the principle of might makes right. Strong species take what they want from weak species. The weak accept this because they have no choice. This creates a cycle of violence that never ends. She changed the display to show the same map 6 months later. The red zones were much smaller. Since the Zephyrian defeat, 17 different conflicts have ended peacefully. 12 aggressive species have withdrawn from disputed territories. Overall level of galactic violence has dropped by 60%. Why? Asked a Centaurian. Because everyone now knows what happens when you threaten human interests. But more importantly, everyone knows that humans do not just defeat enemies. We eliminate the conditions that create enemies in the first place. Alina changed the display again. Now it showed Zephyrian space. But instead of military installations, it showed schools, hospitals, and research centers. The former Zephyrian hegemony is now the Zephyrian Republic. They are a democracy. Their military has been reduced to a small defense force. Their former soldiers are now teachers, engineers, and farmers. You conquered them, said a Cathara. No, we liberated them. From their own system that valued only strength and conquest, from leaders who saw other species as enemies to be destroyed, from a culture that could only survive by making others suffer. Catherine nodded slowly. She speaks the truth. My people are happier now than they have been in centuries. We no longer live in fear of constant war. Our children learn science instead of how to kill. We trade with other species instead of raiding them. But you are no longer strong, protested the Cathara delegate. We are stronger than we have ever. Ben Catherine replied, "We are just strong in different ways." Lena continued, "This is what human victory looks like. We do not just win wars, solve the problems that cause wars. We do not just defeat enemies. We turn them into friends. And if someone refuses to become your friend," asked an Etherean, Elena's expression became very serious, "then we solve that problem too, permanently." She looked around the chamber one final time. The galaxy now has peace, because everyone understands the human approach to conflict resolution. We prefer diplomacy. We prefer trade. We prefer cooperation. But when forced to fight, we do not fight to win. We fight to end. "What does that mean?" asked Council Leader Zeth. "It means we study our enemies until we understand them completely. We build weapons designed specifically to defeat them. We plan strategies that account for every possible response. And then we apply overwhelming force in a way that makes future resistance impossible." She paused. The Zephyrians learned this lesson. Other species have learned it by watching. Any species that chooses to test us in the future will learn it directly. Lena gathered her materials and prepared to leave. Delegates, humanity seeks peace with all species. We offer trade, cooperation, and mutual defense agreements to anyone who wants them. We will share our technology and knowledge freely. She reached the door and turned back. But let today's testimony stand as a permanent reminder to the galaxy. Humans do not lose wars. We erase the things that start them. As the door closed, behind her, the chamber remained silent for a long time. Finally, Council Leader Zyth spoke. "This session is concluded. I suggest all delegates spend time reflecting on what we have learned today." The aliens began to file out slowly. Each delegation was quiet, lost in thought. The Cathara did not click. The Ethereans barely glowed. The Centaurians moved like they were carrying heavy weights. Kethron was the last to leave. It stopped at the human section and looked at the empty chairs. "Thank you," he whispered to the empty room, "for teaching us a better way." Outside the council building, Ambassador Alina looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships patrolled trade routes that were now safe. Former enemies worked together on scientific projects. Children of different species played together in space stations that had once been battlefields. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans did not fight wars to win them. They fought wars to end them. Forever, and now there was peace.